The next day, the entire school gathered in the auditorium. The lights were dim, the air tense, and nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. Whispers filled the room, students exchanging rumors, guessing, laughing nervously. On the stage stood a single projector screen and a microphone. Principal Reeves stepped up first, trying to keep his tone calm. "Today," he said, "one of our students has prepared a presentation on integrity and accountability. I expect everyone to give their full attention." He stepped aside. The doors opened. Maya walked in. She wasn't the same shy girl anymore. Her hair was tied back neatly, her uniform pressed, her eyes steady. She moved with quiet confidence, each step echoing in the silent room. Amber's group sat in the front row, whispering anxiously. Lila looked pale. Jake kept glancing around, and Amber's nails tapped restlessly against her phone. Maya reached the podium, took a slow breath, and spoke softly into the microphone. "Good morning. My name is Maya Johnson. Some of you know me. Most of you don't, but you all know what happens in the cafeteria." A few gasps rippled through the crowd. Maya clicked a button on the remote in her hand. The screen behind her flickered to life. At first, the video showed blurred clips, students walking, eating, laughing. Then came the familiar scene. The cafeteria, the fall, the laughter, the kick. The same moment that had spread across social media. But this time, it wasn't just that clip. It was longer. There were scenes from weeks earlier, shots of other students being mocked, whispered about, filmed without consent. The laughter of the same three faces repeated over and over. The auditorium was completely silent, except for the sound of their own cruelty playing back at them. Maya's voice narrated over the footage. "This isn't just about me. It's about all the moments people pretend not to see. The ones you walk past, the ones you scroll past, the ones you laugh at because you don't want to feel guilty." Her tone didn't shake. It was steady, almost haunting. "We all make mistakes. But the real question is, what do we do when the world finally watches back?" Amber's hands were trembling now. Jake muttered under his breath, "Turn it off." But nobody moved. Teachers sat frozen, students stared wide-eyed, phones recording quietly. The video ended with a still frame of Maya standing alone in the cafeteria, the same shot from that first day. Then the lights came on. Maya looked out over the crowd. "They kicked a tray," she said softly, but they didn't realize they kicked off something much bigger. The room erupted into whispers. Principal Reeves stood, his face pale. "Amber, Jake, Lila, my office, now." The three of them stood slowly, their faces flushed with fear. As they walked out, the students parted silently, eyes following them like shadows. That afternoon, the video was everywhere again, but this time, it wasn't just a clip. It was Maya's full presentation. It spread beyond the school, into local news, even national outlets. The headline read, "Student exposes school bullying through viral presentation." People praised her bravery, her composure, her intelligence. But for Amber, Jake and Lila, the world turned cold overnight. Jake's sports scholarship was suspended pending review. Lila's parents pulled her off social media and grounded her indefinitely. Amber's father, who had been on the school board, resigned after the public backlash. Suddenly the same people who laughed with them wanted nothing to do with them. Their friends stopped answering calls. Their names became whispers of warning. At school, Maya walked the halls quietly, but now people moved aside to let her pass. Some smiled, some apologized. Others looked down, ashamed. Mr. Harris found her one afternoon by the art room again, sitting by the window. "I saw what you did," he said gently. "You didn't destroy them, Maya. You showed them who they are." Maya looked out the window, her voice soft but firm. "I didn't want revenge. I just wanted them to feel what I felt, for 1 second." Mr. Harris nodded slowly. "Sometimes that's all it takes to change someone." He hesitated, then added, "But be careful. When people are forced to see their own darkness, they don't always forgive the one who showed them the mirror." Maya didn't answer. She just closed her sketchbook and stared out the glass, where rain had begun to fall. Outside, Amber sat, alone on the steps, phone in hand, scrolling through hateful comments. Every message called her a monster, a bully, a disgrace. Her friends had abandoned her. Even her parents barely spoke to her. For the first time, she knew what it felt like to be invisible, and it terrified her. That night, Jake got a message from an unknown number. "So you think it's over?" He froze, staring at the screen. Another message followed. "You recorded others too. People didn't forget." He looked around his room, heart pounding. Who was it? Maya? Someone else? The screen went black as his phone died suddenly. He sat there, the sound of rain tapping against his window, wondering if this was just karma or something darker. The next morning, when Amber arrived at school, something strange was waiting on her locker. A small folded piece of paper. Inside, in neat handwriting, were 3 words: "This isn't over." She looked around, but the hallway was empty. The sound of lockers slamming and students laughing filled the air as if nothing had changed. But Amber felt eyes watching her. Meanwhile, Maya was in the library, uploading something new from her laptop. It wasn't another video of the cafeteria. It was a compilation, dozens of clips of students all over the school laughing at others, ignoring bullying, pretending not to notice cruelty. She labeled the file Invisible Voices Part 2. As the upload bar filled, her expression was unreadable. When it was done, she whispered to herself, "They thought this was about 3 people. It never was." The days after the assembly felt strange, like the whole school was holding its breath. The laughter in the halls was quieter now. The gossip whispered instead of shouted. Everyone acted normal, but something invisible had changed. There was tension in the air, like static before a storm. Maya noticed it every time she walked through the corridor. How conversations paused when she passed. How eyes followed her but quickly looked away. Amber. Jake and Lila had been suspended for a week, but the damage was already done. Their reputations had cracked, and rumors filled the spaces where their confidence used to be. When they returned, nothing felt the same. Jake's teammates wouldn't sit with him. Lila's old friends whispered behind her back. Amber walked with her head high, pretending she didn't care, but her hands never stopped shaking. Maya tried to move on. She focused on her art, on her classes, on being invisible again. But the attention wouldn't fade. Teachers praised her bravery. Students she'd never spoken to thanked her for standing up. Yet at night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Mr. Harris's words, "Be careful. When people see their own darkness, they don't always forgive the one who showed them the mirror." One evening, as she stayed late finishing a painting, she heard footsteps in the empty hallway, slow, hesitant. She turned, expecting to see Mr. Harris, but it was Amber. Her eyes were red, her expression raw. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Amber said quietly, "You won." Maya put her brush down. "It wasn't about winning." Amber laughed bitterly. "That's what people say when they already have." She looked at the painting, a bright field of color completely different from Maya's darker sketches. "You're good," Amber said. "You always were. I should have noticed that instead of—" Her voice trailed off. Maya studied her for a moment. "People notice what they want to." Amber turned to leave, but stopped in the doorway. "There's something you should know," she said softly. "Someone's been posting things. About you. Anonymous accounts, weird messages." Maya frowned. "What kind of things?" Amber hesitated. "Just creepy stuff, like they're watching you." Then she walked away before Maya could ask anything else. That night, Maya scrolled through her phone. There were new posts under the hashtag #JunkCrestwoodTruth. Most were supportive, but a few stood out. Anonymous comments like, "She's hiding something and not everything is as perfect as it looks." One even said, "You think she's the victim. Look deeper." The words sent a chill through her. Who was writing them and why? Over the next few days, small, strange things started happening. A note appeared in Maya's locker that simply read, "You missed a file." Her laptop glitched, showing corrupted folders she'd never seen before. Footage she didn't remember saving, showing her walking through hallways, sitting in class, even sketching by herself. None of it was threatening, but it felt wrong. Someone was collecting moments of her life the same way she'd collected the bullies' actions. She went to find Mr. Harris, but he wasn't at the school. The other staff said he'd taken sudden leave for personal reasons. That only made her more uneasy. The next day, she received another message from an unknown number. You exposed them. Now it's your turn. Maya's heart raced. She didn't know whether to show anyone or keep quiet. After everything that had happened, would people even believe her? She decided to tell the principal, but by the time she got to his office, he was already speaking with Jake. The boy's face was pale, his voice trembling. "It's happening to me too," he said. "Someone keeps sending me clips. Stuff I didn't even know was recorded, like they're trying to drive us crazy." Reeves frowned, glancing between the two students. "Are you saying someone's blackmailing you?" Maya shook her head. "No one's asked for anything. They just want us to see." The principal called in the IT department to check the network. They found traces of a hidden folder linked to the school's security system. A user who'd been accessing footage for months under a fake name. But before they could trace it, the account disappeared. Rumors spread faster than ever. Some said it was Maya trying to keep her spotlight. Others said it was the bullies seeking revenge. A few whispered that Mr. Harris was behind it all. The truth was, no one really knew. The school started to feel smaller every day. Hallways filled with paranoia, glances over shoulders, whispers behind locked doors. One afternoon, Maya found Amber sitting alone in the cafeteria, staring at her phone. She looked exhausted, the confident girl from before completely gone. "They sent me another video," Amber said without looking up. "It's me. From last night, walking home." Maya's stomach dropped. "You need to tell the police." Amber shook her head. "They'll just say it's karma. Everyone thinks we deserve this." She looked up at Maya, eyes wide with fear. "But what if it's not about us anymore? What if it's about you?" For the first time, Maya didn't have an answer. That night, she went through every file on her laptop, searching for clues, but the corrupted folder was gone. Only one new file remained, labeled End of Story. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. The screen turned black for a moment, then a video started playing, an empty cafeteria, silent, dimly lit. After a few seconds, a figure walked into the frame. It was her, alone, sitting at a table, sketchbook open. Then, from behind the camera, a soft voice whispered, "The world always watches, Maya. Now it's watching you." Her heart raced. The video cut off. Her reflection stared back at her in the dark screen. For the first time, she didn't know if she was still telling the story, or if someone else had taken over. The next morning, Maya could barely focus. Every sound, the scrape of chairs, the slam of lockers, the whisper of students, felt sharper, louder, heavier. She hadn't slept. The image of her own face on that black screen still burned in her mind. "Now it's watching you." The words replayed like a heartbeat. When she got to school, she noticed something different. People weren't looking at her the same way anymore. Their curiosity had shifted into something colder, suspicion. Someone had leaked a new rumor, that Maya had staged everything, that she'd been manipulating everyone from the start. Someone even claimed she'd faked the anonymous threats for attention. She ignored it and walked to the art room. It was empty. Mr. Harris's things were gone. His desk, usually covered in half-finished sketches and sticky notes, was clean except for one envelope. Her name was written across the front in his handwriting. She hesitated before opening it. Inside was a flash drive and a short note. "Truth has two sides. Don't let yours disappear." Her hands trembled as she plugged the flash drive into her laptop. Dozens of video files appeared. She clicked the first one. It was from months ago, before the cafeteria incident. Mr. Harris was setting up new cameras in the school hallways. The timestamps matched the corrupted footage on her laptop. Another file showed students fighting, vandalizing lockers, throwing insults, things that had happened but never been reported. The next file was the cafeteria scene again, but from a new angle, showing not just the bullies but everyone around them who did nothing. And then came something that made her heart stop. The same dark, distorted clips she'd found earlier, the ones that showed her walking, sketching, being filmed in secret. Only now she could see who had recorded them. It was Mr. Harris, her breath caught. The footage showed him setting up small hidden cameras not only for security, but for observation. He'd been documenting the entire school, collecting proof of cruelty, silence, and indifference. But somewhere along the way he'd gone too far. His message, meant to expose the truth, had turned into an obsession. She found the last file labeled The Experiment. It showed Mr. Harris sitting alone in the art room, speaking directly into the camera. His eyes were tired, They think punishment fixes things, he said quietly. But punishment only hides the problem. What if people could see themselves as others do? What if the watchers became the watched? He leaned closer, his face half in shadow. Maya, if you're watching this, you were the one who understood what I meant. You saw the power of truth. But remember, the line between truth and control is thinner than you think. The video ended. Maya sat frozen, realizing the footage had been uploaded automatically after he left. The anonymous messages, the strange clips. It was all part of his experiment to make people face their own reflection. But he hadn't predicted how far it would spiral once others found his system. Later that day, Maya took the flash drive to Principal Reeves. She explained everything, the cameras, the files, the experiment. The principal called the authorities, who confirmed that Mr. Harris had checked into a wellness retreat out of state. He'd left voluntarily after realizing how invasive his project had become. The school issued a statement the next morning. All unauthorized surveillance equipment has been removed. Students' privacy and trust will be restored. It was supposed to calm people, but instead it fueled the mystery. Who else had seen the footage? How much of it was already out there? A week later, things started returning to normal, at least on the surface. The bullies kept to themselves, quieter now, humbled but changed. Maya stayed in the background, trying to find peace in her art again. But the shadow of what happened never fully disappeared. One afternoon, as she was cleaning her brushes, Amber approached her quietly. "I saw the news," she said. "About Mr. Harris, about the cameras." Maya nodded. "It's over now." Amber shook her head slightly. "No, it's never really over, is it? We all saw things we can't unsee." She hesitated. "I wanted to thank you for not letting it destroy us completely." Maya smiled faintly. "Maybe it wasn't supposed to destroy anyone. Maybe it was just supposed to wake us up." That night, as Maya walked home, the sky was painted in deep orange and violet. The world felt quieter, safer. But when she passed the front gate of the school, she noticed a flicker, a small red light glowing faintly from the side of a building camera. She stopped. For a second it looked like the light blinked. Then it went out. She stared for a long moment, then smiled softly to herself. "Guess someone's always watching," she murmured. Then she walked away, her figure fading into the dusk. Back inside the school, the security monitor flickered to life on its own. The feed showed an empty art room, the same place where everything had started. The sound of faint static filled the air before the screen cut to black, leaving behind only the reflection of a single sentence typed across the monitor. "The truth watches everyone."